helping you find your new way forward to the best years of your life. This is a New Way Forward podcast with your host, Paul Long.
Just who the hell do you think you are that you believe that you can change your life and make it better and more ideal and more right for you? Just who the hell do you think you are that you can do that? Now, I'm trying to get a bit of a reaction from you by saying that, because I know with me and a lot of people, and like when I started changing my life, transforming it, if I had heard that from somebody, it would have pissed me off, and I would have been like, oh yeah, I'll show you. Or it could have been, well, maybe you're right, and I don't think I can. I'm trying to elicit that reaction because while it can come from a friend or a close loved one, you know who it comes from the most? Ourselves. We never even get started. That's what all my years of research and engagement with people has found, is that they never get started. Lots of reasons why. It's scary. It's the unknown. I might fail. I don't know what to do and how to get started. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you the rationale and the ways to get started, because every single one of us is capable of this. And then at the very end, stay tuned, because I'm going to give you 5 things to do for the next 7 days. These are simple, they don't take much time, and the whole point of it is it will get you going. It will launch you in the direction of discovering the life, the new way forward that's ideal for you.
You know, it's really stunning how many people I've known throughout my life, and even today, who don't like their life, who don't feel like they are living the life that's right for them, sometimes in chunks or sometimes just their whole life. They feel like they feel like there's something more for themselves, there's something more from life. And so many of them are going to die still feeling that way. In fact, the number one regret, there have been multiple surveys done of people in their final days of life. The number one regret is that I never lived the life that is right for me. And I can't think of a greater tragedy than that. And I also can't think of any reason why it has to be that way, because I've done it myself. That's what this whole New Way Forward thing is about, because I was looking for my new way forward. And when I started it 15 years ago, and I'm not saying it takes you 15 years, it's just been that long since I started it. And I didn't also have somebody like me talking about these things to learn from. I had to pull everything. I pulled 20,000 strands together for it. There's no reason that you can't have the life that is right and ideal for you. And maybe you're one of those who just started thinking, oh yeah, there is, and here are all these external things. Like for me, it was my age. Oh, I'm getting older now. I'm supposed to be in decline. And when I recently woke up on a birthday in morning, and I thought to myself, man, I have been around the sun quite a few times. But then, and I thought, yeah, and you know, like 10 years ago, people probably would have considered me old. 20 years ago, people probably would have considered me old. And what's old anyway? In Silicon Valley, it's 38 years old. I got to get a facelift and some hair implants. But what I suddenly realized, and was my birthday gift, now it's a gift to you, was that compared to 20 years ago, I am healthier. I've reversed aging, in a manner of speaking. I am healthier. I am more fulfilled. I am more relevant. I am more excited about what I'm doing, this thing, along with other things in my life, which means I'm also living a more, I hate this term, but I'm going to use it, balanced life. And my self-identity is truer to my own self than it was 20 friggin' years ago. Imagine doing that as I did. Why didn't I know this when I was 35? Why didn't I know this when I was 25? Why didn't I know this when I was 45? Why didn't I know this one? Okay, you take my point. This is something any age and anyone can do at any time, because there is something there for each of us. It may even be several things that are right for you and only you. What is the difference? Is it because of how smart you are, how pretty you are, how handsome you are, how whatever you are? No. It's putting in the effort. It's actually taking the time and making the intention to quote unquote figure it out. I love it when people, boy, I mean, it's like alarm bell goes off in my head when people say, yeah, man, I got to figure this out. I got to figure out something else to do. I got to figure out how to change my life. That's kicking the can down the road. You actually got to stop and do it. So, real quick backstory, but a fundamental one, and maybe a familiar one, is back in 1989 when I decided the television news was going to hell back then and I needed to change my career and stuff like that. I made a mistake. I only thought about what I could do from a career and income earning standpoint. And I chose right. I had a very successful thing. I'm very grateful for what I was able to do, but I never should have done it because I never really stopped to think about my whole life and what I really wanted. And that's a problem a lot of people want when they make a change is they do some of the very superficial techniques, which, by the way, are techniques to do, but they're not the techniques to do. You know, like make a list of what you're good at, what you're not, what you want, what you don't want. That's great. I highly recommend it. But I had to go deeper than that, and I didn't. And I've got a longer video on how I took the wheel of life and turned it into something to not only identify what you want, but how to pursue it. But if I just looked at it, a wheel of life is this circle with pizza slices, and each pizza slice represents a part of your life, whether it's health, income, career, relationships, self-growth, all of that, fun and recreation. And if I had looked at that, I wouldn't have made the decision that I did, or if I even pursued the same career thing, I would have taken those things more into account to give me the whole holistic life that I wanted and needed. But the big point here is I didn't really think about it. So now jump ahead to about 15 years ago, when I was like, okay, the shelf life on what I'm doing to earn a living has run out. In fact, it never should have gone on the shelf, but it's run out. And I am getting older. I'm approaching my olderhood, as I now call it. What am I going to do? And I knew I had time to figure it out because I was coming out of the recession, depression for me, and still had boys to put through college, debt-free, which was my goal, and other factors. So I said, I am going to put the time and the effort into doing this. I'm not going to make the same mistake that I made. And it's not like I was able to come down with a strategy right away, but I just had that initial intention that I am going to learn. I'm going to gain awareness of what are people in their olderhood doing. And everything I learned was almost the complete opposite of what I assumed or the stereotype of it. People retiring, it wasn't nirvana. After a year or two, it was a nightmare for them because they had lost their purpose and relevance and fulfillment and self-identity. And a lot of people couldn't afford to retire and have an extended health and lifespan. And they were forced into reimagining, redesigning, and reconsidering their life. And they did it, and they say put in that position was the greatest thing that ever happened to them because they were earning an income in a way that was fulfilling to them and fit the lifestyle that they wanted. Or people who didn't need the money but said, you know, they already had enough money and thought, I know that I'm going to get bored. I know that this is not going to be satisfactory for me, so I'm going to figure out ways to engage myself and be relevant and things of that sort. Okay, that's a great foundation. That's just one example of what I did with the awareness. The second thing I'll put on top of that was that I realized that there was the emerging longevity revolution, the longevity renaissance, because of all these people who are living healthier and active and relevant and purposeful longer. So this idea of you hit retirement age and you go into a decline is typically because you're retired. But these other people were living vibrant, contributing, healthy lives into their 60s, 70s, and even 80s. In some cases, even 90s. And this is the new reality. This is the way it'll be for our kids. Okay, so I had that foundation. Here's the second thing. This quote kept popping in my head. Very interesting. Your brain starts thinking about this stuff. And it is set up to put a lot of attention and effort into it so that you start realizing things and seeing things. You can call it the power of intention. You know, it's new neural pathways and your prefrontal cortex kicking into gear and your reticular activating system starting to notice things, think of things when you aren't even thinking about it. And this quote kept coming to me, and it was from Max Planck. If you watch my stuff, you've heard me say it before because it's that big. Max Planck was a Nobel Prize winning physicist back in the early 20th century. He came up with quantum theory. He worked with Einstein. Smart guy. And here was his quote. This just kept resonating in my head. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way that you look at things, the things you look at change. I needed to change the way that I looked at myself. I needed to change the way that I looked at life. I needed to change the way that I looked at the world. Because if I had that auto thinking, I'd end up right back where I was. And that's the problem a lot of us have. We use that same mindset that got us into a life that we don't like to figure out a better life. You got to take that step back. You got to put in the time and the effort. So then I also did self-exploration. Now, again, I didn't have the benefit of somebody like me that had gone through this and was sharing this kind of information or some of the techniques that I have used. And I'll just say real quickly, I mentioned that wheel of life thing. Well, I figured out that rather than just an inventory on a 1 to 10 scale, where's my life right now? It's like, okay, if I wanted at a 10, my health to be at a 10, what does that look like and what do I do? If I want to improve my relationships with people, what does that look like and how do I do it? If I want to improve this, if I, career, what do I want that career to be and how do I get there? That was very helpful. Then the next thing I thought of is like, how basic can I get? I need a really good foundation here. So I came up with this idea of how do I want to feel every morning? That besides the incidentals or recent things that are happening or love of family, I'm talking about only within me. What am I grateful for every morning when I wake up? And how foundational can I be? Here's what I came up with. Number one, I woke up. Pretty foundational, pretty important. Number two, I love what I'm doing. I'm so grateful for the life that I'm living. It's giving me everything that I need and want and deserve that I am entitled to, just as you are. So, I'm happy with doing this thing here. I'm happy with my relationship, everything. Number three, therefore, I'm really excited about today, whatever that may be. If I was working on New Way Forward stuff, or I was going to go for a hike or whatever, I was happy about today. And then the next thing was that I feel great. I'm in great health. I don't have any major medical problems. I'm not limited in what I want to do. I feel good. And then last but not least, I don't have to worry about money. I don't want a Lamborghini. I don't want a Swiss chalet. Just I have enough money that I don't have to worry about it. And so that became not only a foundation, but a filter. Because it's like, oh, maybe I could do this with my life. And then it's like, well, but it doesn't do number one and number four. Okay, that's out. Oh, here's one. That fits. Okay, let's work through that and figure that out. Because by the way, there may be one new way forward for you that's ideal, or there may be several that you have to choose from, which can complicate things, but congratulations, you've got them. So then I started thinking, okay, I was reading about aging and things of that sort. And again, I'll say this is good at any age. But I also read how people were dying with regret. That the number one regret was I never lived the life that was right for me. That gave me an idea. At first I thought, oh, I'll write my obit. I started to, and I'm like, no, that's not, to kind of say, how satisfactory. Some people recommend that. I didn't really get it. And then I thought, oh, how about if I write the ideal obit? That didn't work for me either. What I came up with, and this really, really worked for me, and I've rewritten it a few times, was I wrote a thank you note from my 95-year-old self to my current self, thanking me for what I'm doing now and in the future that would be worthy of my 95-year-old self saying to my his younger self, hey, thank you for doing all these things because here's the life that we've had. I mean, you can't get into specifics, but you're identifying the foundational things that you value and that you want and need to have in your life. And you're saying in the letter, because of what you did, we've had this, and life has been this, and been able to do this, and so on and so forth. And here I am at 95, and I'm still active and relevant and purposeful. Well, there was health and purpose, and you see what I'm saying? That really, really worked for me. The other thing, from a practical standpoint, is that I started taking baby steps. And it really started with the health thing, but then I found out that I was taking baby steps in other ways too. And here's what I mean by that. I was not in the best health and condition when I started this. I'd come out of a very toxic work situation and a very challenging and high pressure work at that. And I knew that I had to improve my health if I was going to achieve my new way forward and also enjoy it. So what I did, I'm not the most disciplined person in the world. So I knew I had to find a more doable approach to it. So what I did is every morning when I woke up, I thought of one baby step that I could take that day to improve my health. One little thing, hydrate more, go for a long walk. Okay, next day, go for a walk where it would be hard to talk if I was walking with somebody. Nutrition, exercise. Every time I get up from my chair in my office, I'm going to do 5 push-ups. Here's the cool thing that happened. All of a sudden, like 10 days, 2 weeks later, I noticed that some of those things that I had started the previous week, I was still doing. And I was adding to them. And some things I weren't. But the metaphor of baby steps really works because, what does a baby do? They get up, they fall down, they get up, they keep trying, they don't quit. They don't quit trying to learn how to walk because it's hard. They keep doing it. And what happens? Then all of a sudden they're toddling, and then they're walking, and then they're running and jumping and climbing trees and riding bicycles. And that's exactly the arc that it was for me on doing that. And then in the other things, it was just picking away at it. And the second thing I'll say is also knowing your why. Why do I want to be in good shape? Well, because I want to be healthy. Okay, why do you want to be healthy? Well, I want to be healthy because I want to feel good. Well, why do you want to feel good? Well, because I want to do everything that I want to be able to do. And why do you want to do that? Well, because that's a good life, and I also want to be there for my wife and my kids and for others. Now I know my why. Now I know when I don't want to go to the gym, which I had a lot of trouble with in the beginning, I've got my why. Well, why am I doing this? Because this is what I have to do in order to die young at an old age and be there for my family and live the life that I want to live. Okay, get your butt up. Or the James Clear Atomic Habits trick, which is like a trick because it works so well. Only focus on the next 1%. What's the next 1% going to the gym? Go get my bag. Go get my gym bag. The moment I get my gym bag, I'm gone, I go. I only have to be there for 15 minutes. Oh man, I've been here for an hour. So I want to take it again from the context of me being an older guy, in my olderhood, and again say, I wish I had known this when I was 25. Or 35, 45, so on and so forth. And by the way, when I started this up as kind of a side gig, this New Way Forward thing was a side gig, I'd be doing I'd be directing a video shoot or something like that, and I'd have, some people on the client side who are like, let's say in their 30s, and life is good, got family, career, all that other kind of stuff. And they'd say, hey, tell me about this New Way Forward thing. And I would share this kind of stuff with them. I would first of all share the new reality of longevity, that we are now capable of living, now increasing our health span and our activity levels and being relevant and working or creating or contributing or whatever, vastly beyond where you think it is. That, when you hit 50, when they hit 50, I'm like, that may only be the midpoint in your life. What are you going to do with another 50 years? Because 50 years ago, you were born. Look at how much life you've had. I'd share these with these people, and then also the way of really identifying, there's a way to really figure out what's ideal for you. And the stunning thing was that everyone essentially had the same reaction, which was, wow, this changes my life now. Not only my outlook on when I get older, but the realization that I can do what you did now. Or I'm starting to wonder. I'm starting to feel like this is losing its positive momentum. And they embrace that and they're like, I want to know more. And I would say that the majority of people that engage with me on social media and here on YouTube and such are, 40s and 30s, even 20s and 50s. And so it's there for all of us. So what I've gained, like going back to that birth date, is that I'm happier, healthier, more fulfilled, more relevant, more excited about my future than I was 20 years ago. And if you're 35, that option's open to you. If you're 75, that option's open to you. If you put in the work, if you put in the effort, if you have the intention, if you realize that you are entitled, you are able of having that life that you really want. If you put in the time and the effort, and if you change the way you look at things so that the things that you look at change into the life that's ideal for you. So my last piece of advice, as self-serving as it may be, is keep following me here on YouTube or on Substack or on social channels with these techniques to not only figure it out, but to pursue it. And also what I picked up along the way are just a multitude of methods and techniques just to make our life better in the given moment. I deserved it. I'm getting it. You deserve it too. So with all of that said, here are 5 things you can do for the next week to get you started, to get you thinking about it, to get you realizing, to get you excited, and to get you in the groove to start discovering the new way forward that's right for you and actually doing it. All right, so number 1, wake up in the morning, and before you lift your head from the pillow, think about how you want to feel in the future when you wake up, just as I had described before. I came up with 5 things, and what it fundamentally did is help me identify the core basics of what I would really value and allow me to wake up in the morning and feel really good about my life. Okay, number 2, also, before you get out of bed, think about one little healthy thing that you can do today that you don't normally do. One little baby step in terms of the food that you eat or don't eat, in terms of exercise, something like that. And even if it seems almost too little, that's still good, just so you do something every day and make it different every day. But that doesn't mean you can't hold on to what you've already done and is working for you. Number 3, pick 3 times during the day that you're going to take, even if it's 5 minutes, longer is better, obviously, but that you're going to take at least 5 minutes to dream and think about and fantasize what your life looks like and what it would be in your life that would make you feel great and give you what you need and desire. And then number 4, I want you to watch 2 of my videos on YouTube. And again, in the description, or if it's like LinkedIn or Substack, in the body of the text, I'll give you the links to them. One is the life wheel that I talked about. And you can do an assessment of where your life is now, but you can also think about where you want it to be and what that would look like and what you've got to do in order to have it. Then the second thing is to watch my video on writing a thank you note from your older self to, again, help identify the fundamental things that you would, with your older self, be wanting to send a thank you note thanking your current self for. And then number 5, before you go to bed, brushing your teeth, getting in bed, falling asleep, I want you to think about what you did today that was beneficial and what you learned today. And I want you to give yourself a pat on the back for doing it. And then you can go ahead and think about, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to think about this, or tomorrow my healthy habit is going to be this. And what this is going to fundamentally do is it's going to get your brain going. It's going to give you momentum. You're actually thinking about it, which is what most people don't do. And by the end of a week of this, you're going to be on your way. Your brain's going to be reprogrammed in order to enable this. You're going to start getting excited. You're going to start having insight. Know that there's still a road ahead, but you're going to be on your way to find a new way forward in life that's right for you.
Learn more ways to enhance your life and discover a new way forward that's perfect for you. And be sure to subscribe.